I want to talk about that because you know, I noticed on that interview at the Breakfast Club, Daniel was talking about some other stuff, and Chatty Patty got up twice to go back to tap Daniel to say something about my wife and my family and her situation, which we didn't want out there. It was a private situation. So when you talk about talking about Chatty Patties, you was a Chatty Patty and you got up and tapped that man on his shoulder and asked that man, hey, you want to go ahead and talk about that now? You want to talk about Larry's situation? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a Chatty Patty. That's what, if you listen close, Charlamagne the God said, look at you being the Chatty Patty. That's what the f he is. My gloves is off today, Killer. I'm sorry. I'm a little heated about that because I felt like that.
Larry, Cameron's friend, put it plainly. Where is the cash? Everyone has been asking that question ever since. You see, it was more than just vanity or disrespect when Cameron's pal Larry called out Dame Dash. It has to do with money, reputation, and image. Cameron showed Dame nothing but love for 20 years. All respect, every shout out, every interview. However, as Dame continued to make fun of him online, he eventually lost it and expressed what many people had been thinking. Again, this is not hatred. Grown men discuss perception as opposed to proof. Being able to speak loudly is not important in business. It has to do with what you can demonstrate. Dame Dash left behind a legacy, without a doubt. However, several of his claims were questioned in light of this recent discussion. You cannot claim to have made $100 million from Rockefeller and then another $100 million from a different company. Expect no one, especially the folks you are now at odds with, to inquire as to where the numbers actually went. I'm going to start playing this video for you all, but before I do, I just need you to subscribe, like, and share your opinions in the comment box below. Now let's get started.
Since you grew up with Dame, you know sometimes it can be overwhelming. That don't mean I ain't love him, that don't mean I ain't his friend, that don't mean I ain't fuck with him. None of this. Every interview for the last 20 years, all I've done is given this man props on how he's helped me. But when you keep pushing my buttons on the internet and I did nothing to you, and then not only don't come back on you on the internet, all I do is just don't pick the phone up. I'll be like, I'm just not picking the phone up. That's just that. And then you keep poking me, pause. And my side, I'm like, all right, what you want me to do? All right, be Cam. Now I gotta be Cam. And that's how we out here. So no, I don't feel bad. Because according to Dame, all he do is make $100 million companies. He'd say, yo, I sold Rockefeller for $100 million. Rockaway $100 million. I'll make another $100 million company. Why are we dwelling on this if that's all you do?
Where the money at? Where the money at, my nigga? Where it go? Where the real money go? Where the money go, Cam? I'm being honest with you. I want to know what nigga get $100 million. I know it's taxes and where the money at, nigga?
Well, Larry, it's not fly to have money. It's fly to
I'm just trying to figure out where the money is. You get $100 million.
Learn what Dame said.
Well, listen, Larry, according to Dame, we not real men talk about other men's expenses.
Well, I want to talk about that. I'm sorry, Sin. I want to talk about that because you know, I noticed on that interview at the Breakfast Club, Daniel was talking about some other stuff, and Chatty Patty got up twice to go back to tap Daniel to say something about my wife and my family and her situation, which we didn't want out there. It was a private situation. So when nigga talk about talking about Chatty Patties, you was a Chatty Patty and you got up and tapped that man on his shoulder and asked that man, hey, you want to go ahead and talk about that now? You want to talk about Larry's situation? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a Chatty Patty. That's what, if you listen close, Charlamagne the God said, look at you being the Chatty Patty. That's what the fuck he is. My gloves is off today, Killer. I'm sorry. I'm a little heated about that because I felt like that nigga violated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to get to I was going to get to all that, man.
My bad.
Nah, say, yo, you got to express yourself. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But go ahead, sir.
Would it be so bad if he was the chairman at Revolt? Because let me tell you something about people. I would say about 70-30 people believe that he's not, and there's 30% that believe that he is because they like, yo, he got the proof. He got the texts. He got the break it down, you know. And well, first answer, would it be so bad if he was the chair, if he was made the chairman at Revolt? And then second, break down the story because a lot of people don't know what to think.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, Dame is always gonna sound smart to a stupid nigga. That's just That's just the way. He's very highly educated, has a great vocabulary, knows how to talk shit, talks very well, over-talks people. So to a nigga who ain't paying attention, he always gonna sound smart. And not a dumb nigga neither. Dame's smart in general, very smart guy. So let's do the first thing. Would it be bad if he's the chairman of Revolt? I don't give a fuck. No disrespect to Revolt. I don't work for Revolt. I license my show back here, Talk with Flea, to them, down there, Revolt. I don't work for Revolt. So if he's the chairman of Revolt, or if he thinks he's the chairman of Revolt, I just think he's a man sitting in a chair. At the end of the day, if you think
This entire issue demonstrates why money and ego are incompatible. At the end of the day, your reputation is more valuable than whatever money you may claim, even if you have all the interviews and talk about ownership and millions. To me, this wasn't about who's richer or who's lying. This was about two people who used to move together like brothers, but now use the internet to make arguments rather than dealing with problems in person like they previously did. And nobody truly wins when that takes place. Now, I don't personally think Dame Dash is broke at all. Furthermore, I don't believe that everyone who challenges him is a hater. In a time when power doesn't necessarily pay the bills, I see a man who has been attempting to remind people of his influence. One thing about business, though, is that people expect to see something that looks like 100 million if you claim to have made one. And that's accountability, not hatred. This is how it is. After taxes, investors, and ownership splits, the majority of founders who sell a large company seldom receive the entire reward. Typically, approximately 30 to 40% of that sale is taken home. So when folks start flexing those big numbers, real entrepreneurs know that true math isn't usually what it sounds like. What struck differently, though, was the personal aspect. Everything changes as soon as family names are used, because you are no longer debating business when you include a man's household. You are entering a far more hazardous area. For this reason, I appreciated Kao's friend's composure until he thought the line had been crossed. You can see that it had nothing to do with clout. It had to do with privacy and pride. However, I do think Dame Dash has good intentions at her core. Hip-hop was eternally altered by his constant advocacy of self-reliance and ownership. It doesn't matter if people like the way he moves or not. However, there are instances when being the loudest person in the room causes others to overlook your true achievements. So this is my opinion. Perhaps this is more than simply an internet argument between two old pals. Perhaps it serves as a lesson about what happens when you start pursuing approval rather than advancement. Because you don't need to prove anything to anyone if your work truly speaks for itself. The outcomes speak for themselves. That's what I want people to take away from this. Money disappears, status adjusts. Integrity, however, is what endures. Make sure your name still has meaning once the money discussion stops. Whether you're operating a label, developing a brand, or just attempting to succeed on your own. I have a question for you all. Do you still believe that Dame Dash's ownership message is relevant today? Or has his legacy been eclipsed by the money talk? Do you still owe them proof if your accomplishment doesn't appear to be what they anticipate? Please share your opinions in the space provided for comments below. And additionally, please remember to subscribe and like. Tranquility.